Happy Sunday! It is August 23rd, and there are a lot of things to be excited about. One, we are a mere 3 weeks away from the NFL season starting. Professional sports are surviving COVID and still on TV. There are conspiracies all abound. But most importantly, today is the Main Event Live Show. I am B Love. I am joined by the Chief and Pooh Bear, and we are here for you. We have NFL, Major League Baseball. There will be no, I repeat, no NBA, but there are ninjas. We got back to school. What is going on in space? And Russians are getting poisoned. Buckle up. It's going to be a fast and furious hour. This is the Main Event. We are back. Man, what is up with 2020, y'all?
Dude, what? Hey, I want to know.
I'm done.
Who had dueling hurricanes on their
quit.
2020 bingo card?
Oh my gosh.
I've been to New Orleans and I've seen dueling pianos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a good place. That little place on Bourbon Street. They got the. Did you see the guy that plays the plate? By the way, it's a silver plate. He gets up there between the two pianos. He plays a plate. I got pictures of him somewhere.
Huh. I don't know. All I know is the people in New Orleans aren't doing something right. I mean, God's playing, bowling right up their alley.
Dude, they didn't do something right 15 years ago, and they haven't learned any lessons, since then.
Maybe.
They haven't really fixed the levees the way they needed to be fixed. The people moved out of the low section. A large portion of that city sits below sea level. And guess what? They moved back in. They're back. They're just waiting for it. There's not one. There are two hurricanes aiming at New Orleans. Plus, did you know that there's a tropical depression, number 14, that's staring right down the mouth of New Orleans at the same time?
You watch a lot of news, apparantly.
Well, it's on my Fox, the hurricane website.
Man, this is 2004 all over again.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, I did some relief work in Pascagoula, Mississippi, which is 50 miles east of New Orleans after Katrina, and I am telling you, that place was destroyed. It was our base camp was set up about a mile inland, and that had been 3 feet underwater, a mile inland.
Wow.
Oh, you go right up to what used to be the beach. Now it's just the Gulf of Mexico. And the homes are gone. The parks that were there, all the salt water had poured into the parks. I killed everything. We got there, 2 or 3 weeks after the event. Wasn't on the first wave of help in, but I was, a couple weeks late. Anyway, this stuff had all been dead. I had killed all the vegetation out there. There were homes that used to sit out on these stilts right out there at the on the edge of the water, completely gone. It was absolutely devastating to see it, and they are absolutely poised to do it all over again.
Wow. Well, I got to ask, was when you went in for the relief work, the base camp where you were at, was there air conditioning?
Oh, yeah. we had generated. Actually, by that time, a lot of the power if you had a survivable structure, the power had been restored by that time. The people that didn't have power were the ones that we were helping move out because their structure just wasn't going to make it.
Now, were you guys driving into New Orleans to help out? Base camp was just in Mississippi, or were you working there in?
No, we were working in
Pascagoula.
Mississippi. Yeah, we were strictly Pascagoula.
Wow.
Yeah, It was a mess, and good night. Here we go again. Now they're saying that's going to be a category 2, and that's just because they don't want to tell you that it's going to be a category 3, maybe a category 4. Weather conditions are absolutely perfect in the Gulf of Mexico. It's got plenty of time. It's got a lot of hot water.
Well, a lot can happen between now and then too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the thing could take a
good,
but a lot could happen between now and then.
One of them, the one that came through the Caribbean, the Eastern Caribbean, apparently it reports of Haiti losing approximately eight to 10 people already that they know of. You know, that's
horrible.
Yeah, that's quite the underprivileged portion of Hispaniola.
Man, what's next? I mean, last week we talked on the show about fire tornadoes, and now we're talking about dueling hurricanes coming up the Gulf of Mexico.
Dude, nothing's out of bounds this year. I mean, who knows? We might have a blizzard in Tampa next week. Who knows, man?
Wow, don't say that.
I'm just saying anything's possible. I'm not going to rule anything out.
Put it this way: you wouldn't be surprised by stuff like that anymore.
Not this year.
I don't know. I keep saying that, like, oh, what's next? And then you're like, wow, you got to be kidding me. Like, who thought of this?
Hey, there's no safe place. You can't even go to outer space and be safe. Did you hear what's going on in the space station? Dude, I'm not kidding. Did you hear about this?
No.
There's an air leak on the space station that's up there. These guys are actively looking to find the air leak. Dude, if you got an air leak, did nobody watch Gravity with Sandra Bullock?
No.
Dude, go to the ejection seat, whatever that thing is called, the
escape pod.
Yeah, the escape pod, the getaway plate. Go there. They're walking around with duct tape trying to figure out how to stop this thing.
Listen, I read up a little bit on this before we got on. I mean, my understanding is there's no immediate risk to the astronauts.
That's what
but here's the crazy part is, from what I read on this, it's folks on the ground who are the ones actually looking for the leak. So they seal off this International Space Station in segments, and somehow, based on the pressure readings, they can. I'm just wondering, did those guys that just recently visited there on the SpaceX rocket? I hope they took them some Flex Seal. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, can you imagine that
Flex Seal on there? It's all good.
It's an aerosol. It won't spray.
Dude, but they've got the tape, they've got the glue, they've got, they got everything Flex Seal.
Dude, that guy's going to build a spaceship and put it on a commercial. I built this spaceship out of Flex Seal. Blast off.
Wow.
No leaks on this spaceship. Oh, man, that's pretty crazy.
Breaking news. Elon Musk just purchased Flex Seal. All SpaceX rockets will be outfitted with a Flex Seal coating.
Hey, listen, you just got to take a roll of Flex Seal tape with you when you go into space, and just boom. Like, I saw the guy use the Flex Seal tape, to seal like a jar on an aquarium. Boom, not a problem. Not a problem.
I can't believe that works.
We need to get a hold of someone from NASA and tell them that we've solved their problem.
Listen, every time I go to Lowe's or the Home Depot and they have these side stack displays of the Flex Seal stuff, I'm sitting there going, what can I use this on?
I know.
There's got to be something at my house I can use this on.
Dude, I'm not lying. I thought about getting it just for to have it on the boat, just in case, I'm like, I don't know.
That's actually a pretty smart idea, considering, the condition of the boat every time that, you put it on a trailer.
Yeah, it's still sitting there not doing anything, man. Waiting my turn for the shop.
Well, listen, this is supposed to be a show about sports too. So let's get into that a little bit. Listen, it's been a good week to be a Tampa-based sports fan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it has.
And tonight we'll hopefully continue that. Let's talk a little NHL. Pooh, what do we got?
The Lightning have advanced to the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. They will be taking on the Boston Bruins, minus Tuukka Rask, who is taking a leave of absence from the team, and essentially, forfeited the rest of the playoffs, because once you leave the bubble, there's no coming back.
There's no coming back.
Nope.
Yeah, that's for anybody. That's the starting goaltender for the Bruins, or a video analyst for the Canadiens. Anybody that leaves the bubble is not allowed to come back. So that was a huge, step for him. But yeah, the Lightning are going to take on the Bruins, and that is essentially an old rival. Should be a good matchup for the Lightning. I think that's a very winnable series. Definitely have some problems with the Rat, Brad Marchand, the Rat, and Pasternak, the rest of that line. That's a very potent line. That first line for the Bruins is serious.
Listen,
that starts at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, I'm just excited that we made it past the first round of the playoffs this year. We actually won. We actually won a hockey game in the playoffs, which is something we can't say about last year when we had the league's best record going into the playoffs last year, and we get swept by the same team we just sent home shaving their hockey beards.
It should tell you everything you need to know about how difficult it is to win the Stanley Cup title. Not only that, you have they were actually the second seed last year, but they were had an amazing season, a record-setting season, go up against the 8th seed and fail. They get swept. Then this year you have the Phillies or the Flyers, who are by and large they won the round robin tournament. They had the number 1 seed and had a very tough time with the Canadiens. I mean, anytime you go into a series like this with 7 games, the Canadiens,
the Canadiens,
the La Habs.
What's a Canadian?
I'm trying to say it authentically. Canadians, it's the Montreal Canadiens.
If you're gonna do it authentically, you got to say "a" after you get Canadiens.
Hey,
hey,
les habitants de Canadiens. Yeah, so they nearly lost the Canadians. So there you have it. It's an extremely difficult trophy to win.
Yeah, I mean, those who are hockey purists will tell you that playoff hockey and regular season hockey are two completely different things.
And playoff hockey is so much fun. I won't watch, the Vegas Knights and the Los Angeles Kings play on a weeknight. It's just not interesting to me at all. But if that was a playoff series, I would probably watch, if it was on. Especially if it gets to a game 7, dude. Game 7 in hockey is it's mind-blowingly amazing. It's so interesting.
And especially if it goes into extra periods.
Oh, my gosh. Those extra period games for the Lightning this season.
Yeah, so we talked about this goaltender last week, kind of towards the end of our show. And for those of you who may not be hockey fans, like, this is a noteworthy, change for the Boston Bruins, because this isn't just any goalkeeper. Like, this guy is among the elite goaltenders in the league.
He's top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
He's top 5. So I don't know who their backup goalie is. I don't know what kind of style he has, if it's going to be beneficial to the Lightning shooters or not. We'll definitely see starting at 8. I think.
I was going to say, we're going to find out in just a few minutes.
Cooper's going to have these guys tuned up to where whatever his weakness is, they're going to go for. So it's exciting for, as a Tampa fan to watch what happens. It's going to be a good series, I believe.
Yeah. You know what else was a good series? The Rays had a good series. It ended.
Oh my goodness!
Well, it didn't end today. They're actually playing tomorrow, aren't they? They play Toronto tomorrow.
Yeah. The rare 4-game weekend series.
Yeah. Well, it's not even a holiday, but
tomorrow's start time is it's like 3:00 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's it. The getaway game, I guess. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule beyond tomorrow.
Do we have flights to Buffalo from Tampa?
I'm sure you do. I mean, there's probably a lot of There's probably a lot of people living in Tampa that are from Buffalo.
I know one.
So I admit it, but I don't know. I mean, for real, the Rays are on fire, and like, with some not easy. Like, they got 8 or 9 pitchers, I believe, on the disabled list.
Yeah, did you guys see the list of pitchers that are on the IL?
Yeah, like IL. Yes. Injured list, yeah.
That's right.
Some legit names on there. So if you remember, I believe one of my bold predictions, if Pooh Bear, you have that sheet, was that Brendan McKay would win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Probably
not going to happen. Not going to happen. He's not going to pitch a single inning.
No, he's done. He's done until next year. Yeah. So our bold predictions have actually come back to us in a very morbid kind of way. They've actually been the opposite of what.
Are you saying like we did the Madden curse?
Yeah, like where Clifford said that Adames wasn't going to have any throwing or any fielding errors. He immediately committed like 2 over the next couple of days.
Yeah, that was the start of a losing streak for us too, by the way, Chief.
I said G-Man Choi would win the home run title and he hasn't hit a home run since, and he's batting like 180 or something.
Yeah. But never fear, we got this guy named Lau or Lowe or Louie or whatever. He hits the ball pretty hard. Pretty good.
Brandon Lau.
Lau.
Actually, Lovell, you said that Tyler Glasnow would win the Cy Young.
I said Rookie of the Year for.
Okay. All right. Let me see where that. I don't have that one
for
down.
McKay. But I believe Glasnow is also on the injured list.
Yeah, he's not going to win it either, man. So it doesn't really matter. Neither one of those are going to come true. So, but the Rays 19 and 10, right?
Wait a second.
Oh,
we do have one that is nearly true. The Chiefs said that the Rays would sweep the Yankees in New York.
We did sweep the Yankees in New York.
They did.
I think your intent was the entire season, all 10 games, or no? There's gonna be they play in. Oh, I can't remember how
I think the intent was a series they would sweep them.
Oh
yeah, I bet it was. Hindsight.
Well, there we go. Check. We got one right. Check.
Nice job,
Boom!
Chief. Hey,
says
you didn't ruin the whole season for us. So
no. Well,
so thank you. Man, I tell you what. So yes, insanely well. The Rays are playing. I think, Chief, you said they were 19 and 10, sitting on top of the AL East. Right now, they've had a great run. Had a fantastic road trip. I think we only dropped one or two games on that road trip. That was a long road trip. That road trip mattered big time. And here's crazy. I'm gonna tell you guys a stat that I think will have you fall out of your chairs.
Oh, get ready.
Did you know that the Rays lead the American League in runs scored so far this year?
No,
but I can believe it. I mean,
it doesn't shock me.
Yeah,
especially that first week, those 2 weeks they played against Boston and Atlanta. They racked up some runs. So
they were 14, 15 runs a game.
Right.
And this is not a team we're used to being able to say that about.
No. Today's game was a little more what I was expecting to see. Yeah.
Yes.
So
that was a little more Ray.
And yesterday too. I think they won 2-1 yesterday.
Yeah. And that would be the almost shocking part is the fact that the way they have been winning, it's not the normal pitching and defense. It has been we're going to out-hit you. We're going to out-hit the team that we're playing, and it's going to be late. We're going to out-hit you late. Normally, if they got down, it was over.
Right. Mm-hmm. That is fun to watch, by the way. I mean, it is fun to watch. A guy come to the plate and just be like, "I'm going to hit the stitches off this ball," and there it goes.
Yeah.
Into the gap, over the fence, whatever. They are really making contact.
It's not one guy. It's an entire team. It's not really a team effort, but it's multiple individuals.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are hitting the ball really well
that you can count on. Right? You're not.
And that's what I mean by make you fall over in your chairs. This is not an offense we're used to seeing in Tampa.
No.
And right now they're hitting the ball really well. They're scoring runs. I said they were best in the American League. There are two teams better than them in all of baseball, and that's the Dodgers and San Diego.
The Dodgers are on fire.
Yeah.
Those guys, I mean, you do not want to face them right now.
They look tough to beat. So, you're right.
Yeah. I tell you who looks really great on the Dodgers is David. Oh, never mind. He decided not to play.
He didn't want to play.
Nope.
That is kind of
listen,
sad.
for all intents and purposes, we kind of let off the show with this in the opening lines, but outside of some outbreaks that we can go back and say that some players acted poorly to put their teams in these positions, they're doing pretty well in all sports, NHL, NFL, even our favorite league, and
WNBA.
Like we had fear coming into this that they weren't going to be able to contain this thing, and so far, it sure looks like they are. But
did you read the stories about the NFL players that were testing positive? False?
Yeah. I had some notes on that too.
Yeah, a bunch of false positives.
Yeah. So with the Chief, you were talking about hitting the cover off the ball. Like, did you guys see Abreu over the weekend? Dude hits three home runs yesterday.
3 home runs last night, yeah.
And then this morning today in his first at bat, he had another one. So 4 straight at bats with a home run.
Wow.
Now, on this show right now are 3 very prolific slow pitch softball players. I'm talking like when you look at slow pitch softball, like, you know, we're pretty good athletes in that realm. I want you to tell me a time that you, even in slow pitch softball, you saw a guy hit 4 straight home runs.
I may have seen Eric Beatty do it. I'm not sure. And I bet you Carruthers may have.
I 4 straight. I don't know that he's ever hit 4 straight. 4 straight.
Maybe not. It's a lot. There's no doubt. That is a lot.
I mean, but we're also comparing slow pitch softball to Major League Baseball, right? I mean, this dude hit 4 straight. That is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Now,
there's a lot of good baseball being played out west that us as East Coasters are missing on.
Because we're asleep.
Oh, you got that right.
I'm in bed by the time some of this stuff is happening.
Well, listen, the Chiefs' bedtime is in about an hour.
Well, not tonight. The hockey's on tonight, so I'll make it for.
You'll make it till 9:30 tonight.
Maybe. I'll make it past puck drop. Let's put it that way.
So it's a 5-hour energy. He'll be waiting.
So throughout this show, we'll get to the NFL here in just a minute, but we've also got some conspiracies to talk about. But let's talk about some unwritten rules of baseball.
The unwritten rules.
What is going on with your boy who plays with Will Myers down in San Diego, Mr. Tatis?
Fernando Tatis Jr. He had a heck of a week, man. He was all over the Twitters.
He's all over the news.
So,
dude, I don't hate this guy, man, for what
he's fun to watch play. I will tell you that. He's fun to watch play.
Again, I'm not awake when this happened. So I woke up to, text alerts and things like that from ESPN and MLB. And so my first thought was that there was this controversy over him hitting a 3-0 pitch when their team was up. I'm like, oh, he must have showboated. Probably did a bat flip. Understandable. Get it. Well, then I watched the video. I'm like, there's no bat flip. What's the problem? Started listening to the managers, his interview. He's like, oh, yeah, he 3-0 pitch. You're not supposed to hit that, especially when you're up by whatever it was, 7 or 8. Going, yeah, this is baseball, though. People come back. So I started doing a little more research, and this is what I found. So the manager for the Padres, what's his last name? I had to write it down because I didn't know this guy. What is that ringing?
He's not a former Ray.
No, something's ringing. It was bothering me. Oh, Clifford's house. There we go.
The fax machine right behind me.
Fax machine.
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute. Stop.
Hold on.
We gotta stop here. We've got to stop here for a minute. I apologize. We've got to interrupt tonight's show.
I'm really red. What is going on?
To talk about 1980s technology.
Oh my God. Freaking fax machine.
This explains why he still has an iPhone 5.
Yes.
This thing works, man. It's
this guy
sometimes the fax machine is handy, I mean, there's some things that you don't want to send by email.
He could have said anything else. He could have said it was the latest PlayStation making noise in the background. Nobody would have batted an eye. He said it's a fax machine.
This guy, he rocks an iPhone 5.
Oh man.
Right?
But you know what though? I started thinking about, last week's list of things that you regret buying, and they said, a printer. Well, this is one of those all-in-one type things. It's a printer and a fax machine and a scanner. Dude, I'm not hating it. I'm going to tell you right now, it still works. I got to fax something. There it goes.
So what got faxed to you? Did you?
We got to know.
There was no fax. It was just ringing because someone was calling. It's on the house line behind me. That's the only thing we have hooked up to the house line is that thing.
Okay.
So, and this is a real office. People actually work out of here. So
yeah. What do you?
Yeah. You have a fax machine?
I have an all-in-one.
There you go. You're getting on me. Are you kidding me? He's getting on me.
But hold on. I have an all-in-one that is not plugged into a phone line.
Well, how do you send a fax?
I use eFax.
Digital. There are digital faxes now.
You use eFax, man. You scan
Well,
it,
you
turn it
scan
into
it,
a PDF.
yes.
You log on to the website. You send the fax.
That's a lot
My
of work,
fax
man.
number, in case you want to fax me something, my fax number is 813-464-8027.
More than likely,
And here's what happens when you fax that number: it gets emailed to me.
It goes to the email. Well, when I fax something, I press a couple buttons and the magic happens. I assume it goes digital. I don't think
a question is it. Do you have the roll paper on that fax machine?
No. It's the thermal paper.
It's got the card reader that you got to punch the holes and slide it through.
Oh man, how about the stuff with the we had to rip the sides off of it? The little
Oh yeah, like the dot matrix paper.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's regular.
Oh my gosh! All right. Pardon our trip down memory lane, but let's. So
Lisa, kill the fax machine. I can't do that again. All right, I'm back. Let's go. Hey, conspiracy theory. Let's talk about it, man. It's out there.
Hold on. He's talking about Tatis.
Sorry.
He hits a 3-0 pitch for a grand slam in the up 7 in the bottom in the 8th inning. Right, I don't know if it was the top or bottom. I think they're bottom. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out why this was such a big deal. I get why you're getting your butt kicked. You're upset. You're going to say some things, especially as a coach or a pitcher or whatever. You're going to say some things that might be taken out of context after a day later.
Cooper, this is Major League Baseball. These guys play for big money. And it's not over till the fat lady sings. They got to keep playing.
Here's my thing too. This kid. Go ahead, Pooh Bear. Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, that's pretty much what the majority of people were saying. Other players were chiming in on Twitter. They're saying, "Do your thing, big man. You're doing it right. We love the way you play." Nothing disparaging for the most part.
Not to mention, you get a chance at a grand slam. Those don't come around every day.
No.
You get your shot. You take it, man. Because
you get jacked up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was starting to read into it a little bit, and the coach for the Padres, Coach Tingler, used to be a coach on the I know, right? Unfortunate name. He used to be a coach on the Ranger staff, and that's who they were playing, the Rangers. So his quote afterwards was, he wanted to apologize because he said, well, I gave him the sit sign for 3-0 and told him to sit, but he missed it. So I'm like, okay, that's a little unusual. Then I said, well, wait a second. What if his don't hit his sit on the pitch sign is similar to what it used to be with the Rangers? And the coach of the Rangers saw this and said, they told him to sit and he swung.
So he tells him to throw a softball in, get that strike.
Right. Well, yeah. It's what you're going to throw a strike on 3-0. I mean, if you obviously you try to throw a strike on the first 3, but you missed. So you're going to try to throw a strike. That's what happened. He grooved it and it got turned around on. But what I'm thinking is, and this is just what's going on in Pooh Bear's brain, is that the coach saw that the 3-0 sit sign was given, but he can't come out and say that now in light of all the Astros and Red Sox controversies. He can't come out and say, well, I saw you give him the 3-0 sit sign and he still swung.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So now play that back with his level of upsetness. Now knowing that kid was given a 3-0 sit sign.
Like he was set up for this.
Right.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So either that or the Padres manager was just, making something up. He's like, oh, yeah, well, I gave him the sign to not swing, but he swung anyway. What do you want me to
do? So they may have been watching, a little sign watching there. So.
Could be. But like I said, it's more than likely the guy is not creative enough to come up with brand new signs. What they have is, I don't know how much you guys know about signs.
He's not baseball. Creative enough.
Well, it's true.
I know what this and
there's all kinds of, they do all sorts of movements, and typically what they do is they put a sign in a box, right? So it says, when I pull my cap, the next sign I give you is what I want you to do, chest touch, and then I'm gonna pull my cap again, right? That's the signal. What I just did between this sign and this sign again is what I want you to do. So they'll do all the hubby bubby, but once this happens, boom, I'm gonna touch the letters. That means steal. Lock it in, right? That's like the sign box. That's usually how it works. So he probably wasn't creative enough to come up with a new, hey, when I touch, the letters, that's my box. Everything I do after that, I want you to do. Right? So Who knows?
So then after the Grand Slam, there was another incident.
The next night, this is what I had more of a problem with than the 3-0 swing. He steals third while they're up, I believe, 10. They're up 6. They're up 6. He steals second, and then he steals third.
What inning are we talking here?
This was, I didn't write the inning down. But that kind of gave me two things. One, the Rangers just absolutely suck right now, apparently.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping we get to play him pretty soon.
right. And two, maybe he was just a little kind of, listen, you pissed me off the night before. I'm going to do everything I can to beat you tonight. Understandable.
Right.
But,
was it a real steal or was it uncontested?
No, well, it was a real steal. It wasn't a
indifference.
What's the word? Indifference.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they thought they had him. They had to go to replay in order to make sure they tagged him because the Rangers thought they tagged him and the inning was over. They were leaving the field, and they did a replay of the tag.
Stealing
All right,
third
so
is
I have
not
some
easy.
thoughts. So I have some thoughts on this.
All right, let's hear.
One, the reason that the rules are unwritten is because they're unwritten, right? There's no rule that says you can't steal third when you're leading by 6 in the 8th inning.
Right.
There's no actual rule that says that you can't swing on a 3-0 pitch when you're winning by 10 runs and the bases are loaded, right? I call BS. 2, this is a young kid, okay, who's probably getting paid pennies right now compared to what he's actually worth on the baseball field, okay? There's a chance he has an incentive-laden contract. You get so many hits, so many home runs, so many stolen bases, or whatever it is, right? There may be some incentives. But even if there's not, when he gets to arbitration or he gets to negotiating his next contract, these stats are going to matter, and nobody's going to remember he hit a grand slam with an 8-run lead in the 8th inning.
Right.
They're just going to remember he hit 33 home runs that season.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say go get paid, young man, because here's the thing about professional sports in America. We get paid for past achievements.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? Our professional athletes don't get paid for their worth right now. They get paid for the next contract based on the stats that they had in the first 5-6 years. And here's the ironic thing. They get these massive contracts in the years that they start to have diminishing skills.
Right.
Right. So in American sports, we pay for past performance. Unfortunately, because of the collective bargaining agreements and everything that we have now, these players being under team control when they're young, they don't get paid based on, look at I'll just give you an example. Let's use Evan Longoria, who I know is a fan favorite here in Tampa.
Just hit his 300th home run, career home run.
Just hit his 300 home run this week. But he played his first couple of seasons here for peanuts.
Yep.
Okay. Now they did do him right, and they signed him. If I remember, it was a 10-year, $100 million deal that now San Francisco is paying. Mm-hmm. Evan Longoria is not a $10 million a year third baseman in 2020.
His defense, you got to, when you look at his numbers, you got to add, the +1, -1 for his defense skills, because he is a really talented third baseman.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
His batting average does not warrant $100 million, but his defense is, he's going to steal. He's going to take, he's
going to take runs off the board.
Run away a night, probably. He is that good of defense.
Yeah, I get it. I just think you go back and you look at some of these. Look at Carl Crawford.
Ooh.
Signed a mega deal when he left Tampa. Tampa got his very best baseball, and we got it for cheap.
We got all his baseball.
Yep. All the good baseball.
We got all of it.
I would say the same thing about, I'm going to go way back. What about Casimir? We got his very best years.
The Rays have a habit of squeezing the goodie out of whatever player, whether it's on the tail end of their career or the beginning.
We squeezed the very best Johnny Damon had left out of him.
The Rays single-handedly put Carlos Pena on MLB Network as a commentator.
Yes,
right. The guy his career was over. We saw him all in Moneyball get cut by Jonah Hill, and and he comes to the race, has essentially a fantastic career over 4 seasons or so, goes to the World Series, whatever, and becomes a household name and a very popular player amongst the league, and is now a very popular analyst with MLB TV.
And I'll stick with the theme because obviously being a Rays fan, we follow the home team much more. So I know I'm going Rays heavy on these examples. But what about Bartlett? Right? Yeah. We got his best baseball as a shortstop, and he went to the Cubs and got paid. And although he was influential in that World Series year, is the guy even still in the league?
No, that's been 10 years since that happened. It's
no, it hasn't been that long.
It was 08, bro.
Since the Cubs won the World Series?
He wasn't on the Cubs when they won the World Series. You're thinking of Zobrist.
Oh, I am thinking Zobrist. I apologize.
Yeah, Bartlett was the 08 shortstop. But, Zobrist was on that team as well. But Bartlett was a shortstop, went to the Padres, I believe, and, then out to wherever. But going back to your unwritten rules, there are unwritten rules, and they're not unwritten because it's an actual rule. They're unwritten because it's essentially sportsmanship. Is what they're talking about.
Okay.
So there's an unwritten rule. If you're going to plunk a guy, you don't plunk him in the head. You plunk him in the butt.
Yep.
Right? That's an unwritten rule. It's sportsmanship. You're going to get retaliation. You're going to get hit with the pitch. I, as a pitcher, am going to do my best to hit you in the booty so it doesn't hurt so bad. If I hit you in the back, I'm sorry. If I hit you in the hand, I'm real sorry. Right? So, but there's a rule. Don't throw at the head. Don't throw behind. And I think that's one of those things. If you're up and winning by a huge amount, absolutely do what you have to do. There's no place to put the runner for a 3-0 count. You're going to have a 4-0. You're going to take your base, and they're still going to score a run. You're going to swing the bat. Swing the bat. I've got no problem with that. I didn't have a problem with him swinging the bat. Like I said, I had more of a problem with him stealing third. You're already in scoring position, right? Going to third doesn't really help you. You're just poking the bear. Right, you're mad at whatever happened the night before. You've been around baseball long enough. In his specific case, his father was a major leaguer, pretty darn good major leaguer. So It's not like I just came out of corn-fed Oklahoma. I don't know nothing about this darn baseball, boy. I'm just trying to hit and play good. No, you've been around baseball. You've been in the clubhouses. You've heard other professionals talk about this kind of stuff. That's not an excuse, as far as I'm concerned. But again, you've got every right. That's up to the Rangers to stop you. They're the ones that are playing terrible baseball. Have at it. But, don't come to me and say, well, there's, it's just about padding stats. No, this was a very specific case, I think, where he was trying to get back at the Rangers for the night before.
Yeah. All right, listen, Chief, I'm going to switch gears a little bit.
Okay. Hold on. Wait, let me say something, though, because I wanted to add a name to the list of people that the Rays have squeezed everything they got out of them. And I was thinking of a name, and I was like, man, I think we got the very best that BJ Upton had to offer. And then I was like,
we also got the very worst.
And I got, and then I said, it really wasn't that great, No.
I was there the night he hit for a cycle.
I was right next to you.
Yes, you were.
Real quick before we move on.
Wait. I think I was in the I think I was walking to the stadium. I think I was with you guys in the stadium, and there was somebody wearing a BJ Upton jersey. And I think it was Pooh Bear that said that must be his dad wearing that
jersey. Hey, I noticed today that we have probably the most unfortunate positioning for these cardboard cutouts that there could be.
Yes.
So
I thought we hit gold at first, but
I did too. I'm thinking, all right, every time there's a run on first, we're going to be seen. Nope, It's one section over. Every time they go in and show the pitcher, we're going to be seeing. Nope, we're one section that way.
They clearly don't know that they have the guys from the man event.
I know, I get it.
They knew that the guys from the man event had cardboard cutouts. They would put us behind home plate.
Yep,
that's where we should be.
Yeah, if you don't want to be on TV, 125, that's where you want to sit. Okay, yes.
All right, give me, Chief, a little Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy.
Yes, from the Book of Kung Fu, the ninjas that in Japan there's the Ninja Museum, and there is actually, right next door to them is the university where they have a degree in ninja. You can get an advanced degree in ninja. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think it's either me or Maya, MEI. I don't know how to say it, but
you're telling me that you can go to university in Japan.
Yes.
By advanced, you mean like a master's level?
Well, that's what I took it as. I'm reading the article.
You're telling me I could get a master's in ninja.
In ninja, yeah, the black art of assassin and thievery and sneaking around and just using that freaking sword to precursor to a lightsaber.
What I want to know, how many ninjas have a master's in ninja?
I can tell you who doesn't. The guys that operate the Ninja Museum, the one that was just robbed, these guys came in and they broke into the Ninja Museum. Dude, who robs the Ninja Museum, by the way? I mean, you got to have cojones the size like that.
Yes, because there could be legit ninjas there.
There could be legit ninjas. Absolutely, man. I think what was his name from Roadhouse? He could have been a ninja.
Patrick Swayze?
Patrick Swayze could have been a ninja. Anyway, when you think of a ninja, I think of an American ninja. You got to think of either Chris Farley or Patrick Swayze.
No, Chuck Norris.
Dude, I was going Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Chuck Norris.
You were going with the Turtles. Chuck Norris, legit ninja, by the way.
I don't think he's a No. I don't think because he's not stealthy enough to be a ninja.
He doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be right now. If he wanted to, he could be.
Yeah. He just goes around and tells people, "Don't listen to me." And
he just goes around flexing on people. You don't have to do any ninja into him. They just.
Horse is 80 years old, by the way.
Yes, and he could still whoop butt.
Oh yeah. So they get away with $1 million yen. $1 million. They have a safe in there, and they break into the safe. The safe is $1 million.
About $10,000.
Yeah, that's what, about 10 grand.
But it's still though, it's more money than I have in my safe. So it's pretty solid.
Wait.
It's ironic that the ninjas get robbed, possibly by other ninjas. I don't know. Is there like a ninja war about to break out?
Ooh, should we be worried about ninja on ninja crime?
Oh my gosh.
All right. So I've got. So how did they pull this off?
They don't know. Because
in true
ninja fashion, they knew where the cameras were. They walked up to the cameras, and all they did was they pointed the cameras to the ground, and they stared at the ground. The rest of the camera, they didn't get anything other than a guy walking up.
That is ninja-esque right there.
Oh, yeah.
That is ninja-esque.
Ninja security was not on the job.
No.
Wow.
No.
Hong Kong Fooey.
I don't think they say
How about you're the guy who's got to make the phone call though?
Like
you're the curator of the Ninja Museum. You show up. I mean, do you call 911 or do you call your buddies? The guys with the ninja degrees. Well, I'm not exactly sure. What's the call? Because it's you're gonna have to eat some humble pie to call 911 and have the cops show up.
Are there still ninjas around?
Well, apparently in Japan.
Listen. Well, there might be ninjas all over the world. So what kind of ninja does it take to poison a Russian? A Russian opposition leader to Putin.
Just one ninja. The Putin ninja.
The Putin ninja.
Man, what a story.
They would not let that guy leave the hospital. Did you hear how they got him out of the hospital?
They finally let him go.
No, they didn't let him go. They showed up. The Germans showed up with an armored convoy of, I don't know. I say armored. I mean, men with guns, with ambulances, and they went to the hospital and they took him out. The Germans went and got him.
Dude, what hospital was this guy in? Was he in a German hospital or was he in a Russian hospital?
He was in a Russian hospital.
He's in a Russian hospital, and they would not allow him to. They would not allow him to leave. They said, "No, The excuse was, you're too sick to travel," which may or may not be true, But either way, they were not going to let him go. He appeals to somebody in Germany who's got a lot of money and a lot of pull, who put some guys together, probably ninjas, and they showed up at the hospital and got him and ran him across the border.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now
so-
see, that is a very much a
This sounds very 1980s ish.
Dude,
well,
it
that-
sounds like
the-
007 stuff going on.
That's what
there.
I'm saying. It's like very
Yeah.
Cold War-ish.
the state of Russia right now is very similar to what we all grew up with in movies. It's from what I'm reading. It sounds very much like what we all thought of in James Bond movies and whatnot.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen, this is kind of off subject, but I gotta bring it up. But like still in the Russian theme. Have any of you watched that show called Chernobyl? I believe
yeah.
it was on HBO.
Yes,
No.
it was
Chief,
a
did you see
fantastic
that?
miniseries. He said
That was a great miniseries. If you
it was
haven't watched,
fantastic. You,
Yeah,
you would really dig it because you remember it. You were there. You were with us.
you were with us. We were at Chernobyl. We were hanging out.
No, I mean, like, you're old. I didn't want to say you're old enough, but you're old enough to remember. Oh, by the way,
I was in the army in the 80s. Okay, so like I was in the infantry
this was
specifically.
81.
Huh?
This was 81, I believe.
87 for me. But
No.
so I do remember Chernobyl, clearly.
Yeah.
But I'm in the army in the late 80s, and specifically an anti-tank gunner. And so I had to be able to memorize and identify all the enemy tanks, and they were all Russian, by the way. I mean, I'm an authority on 80s main battle tanks for the Soviet bloc nation. The ZSU 72-4, that's an anti-aircraft, but the T-74 tank and I think the T-61. I got them all covered. I can tell you, weights, range, all kinds of stuff on that.
Can you identify a Chinese nuclear submarine sneaking in and out of a military base?
I didn't see that. That is crazy.
How about that?
James Bond right
Yes,
there.
that's what makes me think of it.
Yeah. But they didn't think of that stuff though, because the Germans in World War II had the same style underwater cave bunkers for these things. But
Yeah.
I think we've got them somewhere too. I'd be willing to
Probably do. And this is not the first submarine to come out of that bay. This is a known sub. I don't know if it's a manufacturing plant or just a working dry dock or whatever it is.
Right.
So there's no surprise here.
No,
but
it's no surprise.
Like Google Maps is essentially,
right. And I think the surprise was the type of submarine. They didn't know that type of submarine was in that area. So
I think it was one of those fast attack gimmicks. Yeah.
Well, it was an anti-submarine sub. So
Right.
This is the submarine that kind of goes out in front of all the other submarines and is quieter and kind of says, "Okay, I'm hunting for submarines."
It's like Red October-ish.
Yeah, that's what the story I was reading was talking about. How is the
Give me one ping only.
one ping.
It's terrible.
That's
a great movie, man.
It was fantastic.
That was a great movie. That was a bad invitation.
No, it was pretty good. I thought it was good.
Do it again.
Do it again. Down angle. No bubble or no bubble. I'm going to go no bubble.
I need 5-degree down bubble. So no, the state of submarine warfare, submariner warfare today is not necessarily nuclear submarines and exerting force. It is anti-submarine warfare.
Submarining. It's anti-submarine submarining.
You're trying to have the quietest, sneaky submarine, one that can detect the quietest and sneaky submarines. So far, well, according to our War Department, we have the quietest in that none of the other countries are even close. China and India are the closest to having one quiet. Which, by the way, leads me to think, I mean, I know we're a very industrious country. We have a lot of smart people here, a lot of smart engineers working on things. We're inventing things which capitalism leads to, right? When you give people the freedom to make money based on their ideas, that's where this kind of stuff comes from.
Like you could have a cell phone that has Wi-Fi. You don't have to carry around an iPhone 5, Chief.
Right. We can
get Wi-Fi.
We can email fax instead of actually faxing.
My cell phone gets Wi-Fi, Chief.
Does it fax too?
Yes,
does.
There's an app. There's an app for the fax thing I was telling you about earlier. Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude.
But my point being that these other countries also have some pretty smart people doing these things. They're reverse engineering some of the technologies that we have already.
Sure. Yeah.
Why haven't they progressed and advanced to the point where they're putting people on the moon and they're putting the quietest submarine out? It could be money, and it could be what I was just talking about. How it's not very. There's no reward for people to take that kind of risk and do those sorts of studies to get the more advanced technologies. But It just seems like we're the ones that are always coming up with that. And part of me wants to think, well, maybe it's propaganda. Maybe our own country's telling us, yeah, well, we've got the biggest, best, fastest submarines. It seems to be pretty true. I mean, there's no reason to believe it's not, but yet it's like, you tell me nobody else can do this?
Listen, I think the warfare technology that is out there, not just in the U.S., but around the world, there are things we don't know about that are probably pretty freaking scary.
Oh, absolutely. I know some people
because I'm pretty sure that our best technology, our best weapons are still highly classified. We don't know about them.
I know people that right now think that there is a U.S. Navy SEAL sitting next to Kim Jong-un, and there's one sitting next to Vladimir Putin. Invisible.
How do they do that?
Technology we don't know about. They're claiming that it exists and that this is happening.
We can now cloak a Navy SEAL.
You're telling me the technology is available for
No,
me
I'm
to
not
go-
telling you that. I'm telling you someone I know that is in this realm has told me that he believes this, that he thinks this is what's happening.
I would like this gentleman to step forward, please.
I think if he's
Well, while we're talking about, I mean, like this is
he doesn't really know, because if you knew what you were talking about and it was on this show, he wouldn't be around for very long.
Exactly. But that's also the kind of thing that you can't know. Like if you do know that, you're one of like 6 people in the world and you're not talking about it.
Is Kim Jong-un in a coma again?
I don't know. Let's see what the comments say.
Look at hey, look at that. We got terrible shot guys here tonight.
Terrible shot guy is here. He's back.
The medic.
What is up, Pat?
Oh.
Medic.
I'll put it on the screen. There we go. Boom. For those that might remember, this was Patrick, our
and if you don't
guest.
remember, go back and watch it.
That's right. Episode 6-ish.
Well, it was the short was boot camp day.
Hey, just go back and watch them all.
The short was boot camp day. Go check that one out. So this Russian guy, he is the opposition leader, I guess, to Putin. He's currently in a coma. So here's the thing. I did a little bit of research trying to be able to talk about this on the show. One of the things I uncovered is this is apparently a common practice.
Oh, yeah.
Within this administration.
Yes.
Yeah.
This Russian administration.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are multiple attempts and successful ones of assassination through poisoning going on. Nobody can tie it back to Putin.
There was a case here where it was their ambassador to New York, I believe, I think he went missing one night, and then next thing you know, he showed up poisoned, dead.
So they like to use thallium, which is a radioactive isotope, and we use it here to use it for like cardiac imaging. You can get a couple doses of thallium in your lifetime, and it'll show how well your heart is being perfused if you got the right gamma camera. I worked for a company that did this. I did the stress testing portion of it, not the radiation stuff. But anyway, you do not. Thallium is nasty, and it's not something that they check for. I mean, you just don't get poisoned by thallium and then go to the hospital and they do a blood draw and to see what's wrong. They do a blood draw and everything comes back normal on you. You're like, well, we don't know why. You're rotting from the inside out. By the time they do figure it out, it's too late.
So that the report on Kim Jong-un being in a coma is fairly fresh. About 40 minutes.
Are we the lead agency breaking this news?
I don't know.
We might be.
This is it. We are on air. This is happening.
Do you have like a breaking news banner?
Well, here's what I want to know. Did the invisible Navy SEAL put him in the coma?
Wow.
The conspiracies abound.
I may not have to go off air for this. I may not be able to be a part of this one. This is I know nothing. I'm going full Sergeant Schultz on this. I know nothing. I see nothing.
So while you're talking conspiracies, man on the moon.
Oh, for real or not real? Is that what you mean? Did we actually put somebody on the moon?
Yes.
I say we put somebody on the moon, yes. But I know people who will, essentially sell their soul to say we did not put man on the moon.
Those people are probably flat earthers.
The flat moon. I mean, is the moon flat? He got trumped.
Rocket Man.
Oh my gosh. No, I say we definitely put people on the moon. So,
You say we definitely put people on the moon.
I say we did. But if we're going to talk conspiracy theories, can we talk about the 9/11 conspiracy theory?
Sure.
So, okay, specifically about the plane that hit the Pentagon. Okay, whatever that plane was, I forget what it was, 747, 720, I don't know what it was. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, that thing's got a wingspan that's like 400 feet wide, maybe even larger. I don't know, but it's large. Just put it that way. Okay, this thing hits the Pentagon, allegedly, hits the Pentagon, and the damage area to the Pentagon is only like 50 feet wide, maybe 100 feet wide, but it's nowhere near the size of the wingspan of this plane. And now they'll try to tell you that the wingspan's probably the wings folded up, and they wound up inside the Pentagon, but nobody that was in the Pentagon said they saw wings in there. So
your conspiracy is that plane did not actually hit the Pentagon.
I think that plane is at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. I think Dick Cheney told those guys, it's coming in. You guys need to drop it before it gets over DC. And somebody put a Sidewinder in it. And I'm not faulting them for it. I mean, it's, thousands of people versus a couple hundred people.
So what hit the Pentagon then?
I think we shot our own missile. I think we shot some sort of missile out there, a cruise missile or something else, because that was a section of the Pentagon that had coincidentally just been reinforced. They had just finished this whole reinforcing section on it. And what better way to test it, than to go ahead and launch a missile at it,
Listen, Chief, this makes no sense to me. I can buy the fact that plane didn't hit the Pentagon, but you're telling me that we blew it up on purpose.
You gotta have it. Yeah, they didn't want to face the American people and tell them what they did. So it's easier to tell us, hey, the planes, hit this. I'm sorry, there's nothing left. Crazy to believe there's nothing left. The plane that hit the ground in Pennsylvania, there were pieces of it all over the place. There's not even a seat left of that plane.
Something to think about. I do have a thought when it comes to the New York scene, right? Ground Zero. There were several other buildings that collapsed that day.
Yes.
That really weren't near either of the Twin Towers. They were part of the complex. They were, I think, One World Trade 7 and some other numbers. I can't remember them. Forgive me, but
sure,
those buildings did collapse as well. That's always been kind of suspect in my mind. Like, why did that happen? But it was a massive collapse of two other buildings. There was jet fuel and fires, and who knows? I'm not an engineer, architectural engineer, or civic engineer, civil engineer. So I don't know exactly what happened or why, but that has always sat uneasy with me, let's say, right? Like, why did those buildings fall down? So
why did only those buildings fall? The only buildings that fell were the ones that were part of the World Trade Center complex.
Yeah.
Nothing else. There was buildings all over the place, and nothing else took enough damage to collapse.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to think about. I think what we might want to clear up before anyone watching, or even in the future, our kids or something, that we don't necessarily think that the United States government had anything to do with this attack.
You're just questioning
that this definitely was perpetrated by Al Qaeda and some very awful terrorists. But there are some things that do raise questions, and I know in my mind, like I just said, those buildings that collapsed, and I really hadn't thought about the Pentagon scene too much until you just mentioned that.
Well, the other one out there is not about 9/11. We got to go to the grassy knoll.
Oh,
according to Kevin Costner, the
that's a great movie, by the way.
Well,
you talking about JFK with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought we straightened that out, and we all thought it was Magneto from the X-Men. I thought this was a done deal. Or Quicksilver.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't
even know who this. So, which one of you is a flat earther?
No, not flat. Okay. I can see the curvature of the Earth.
I've been over the horizon.
No, I'm not. To me, when it comes to conspiracy theories, I have always been on the side of it's probably not true because the fact that there's too many people involved.
I'm with you. Too many
you
people.
can't-
No way that many people can keep a secret this long.
Correct. There's none of those what we would call conspiracy theories that could last this long. We can't even get somebody. I can't even think of nothing but terrible examples. I don't want to do that.
No one has a conspiracy about anything that good happened.
Well, no, I mean, I was thinking of some, athletes that can't get away with things that they do that are,
Sure.
smacking around an Uber driver, right?
Yeah.
You can't get away with that. Not that you should. It's an awful thing to assault someone, but I mean that's something that could definitely be covered up more easily, right? It's between you and someone you assault, you could do a payout, work something out, but it always gets found out. There's cameras involved. There's people walking by, passing by. There's the spouse of the person that was assaulted, the spouse of the person that did the assaulting, people at work. There's way too many people involved in any of and not to mention most people can't keep their mouth shut. Even if you could seal the deal between all parties involved, whatever it is, and then say, okay, let's not talk about this. It happens. It happens. And you take one over when was 69? So that's nearly 60 years ago. My math right? No, nearly 50 years ago.
50 years ago, right? It's over 50 years ago.
Right around when the Chief was born.
It was before I was born.
Just before.
So it's been 50 years, and you're telling me none of those people involved have come out and said, you know what, on their deathbed, right? Nobody said, hey, I got to get something off my chest.
Yeah, we didn't really land on the moon. Yeah,
it was a video production. I'm the camera guy. I've got some other video that I took that same day. Here's proof. It just that hasn't happened, and I don't think it will because it's not true.
All right, so here we are. We're coming up on just past the hour mark. We got one more thing we got to hit, and we got to talk NFL. Right? Yeah. I can't think of a better way to end the man event than talking football. So
can we talk sweaty butts?
No, man.
You just ruined it for me.
We know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
So Tom Brady gets on Ryan Jensen, the center for the Buccaneers. Apparently his rear end was just too sweaty for Tom. And Tom had to have a discussion with him. He's like, you got to take care of this, buddy. I can't be taking snaps from you.
What are you going to do about that? He's not going to wear a diaper out there.
Baby powder. Yes, and a towel.
Dude, after a couple hours of playing football, it's not powder. It's just mud, man. That's a bad scene all the way around.
Listen, that might be every change of possession. I don't know.
You think he's going to go in the tent?
I don't know.
The sideline? Dude, who's going to do that?
At this point, he's going to do what Tom tells him to do.
Exactly. When Tom tells you to dry your butt, you dry your butt.
There's going to be a guy on the sideline with a bucket of powder, and he's just throwing it down there. He's like, "Come on in here, man. I'm going to powder you up."
It's Ryan Griffin, the backup quarterback.
If there was preseason football, we would be in week 2.
Yes.
We are 3 weeks away from NFL football. So my question, talking preseason, is not having the preseason games, is it good or bad for the NFL?
As far as much as I complain about preseason and nobody watching them, I miss them. They're worthless games. They don't count for anything. But I will turn them on, and watch the starters play for however long they're going to play. But these guys are going to take the field at some point in time. You might as well get.
Yeah. So do you think? What do you think about the quality of play? Do you think the quality of play is going to be up to par, or do you think it's going to be a couple of weeks until they get their sea legs, so to speak?
I think we're going to see some bad football the first week.
Well, I think you're right. But it's some teams will do better than others.
Yes.
Some teams are going to put that extra effort in. They're going to be meeting, one-on-one with their quarterbacks and everything else, and they're going to put that. And those guys that put more effort in, more time in, are going to play better on week 1 for sure. You will have lopsided victories on week 1.
You think in week 1?
Yeah, huge lopsided victories. And by the way, teams that you think are gonna kill it, and that might kill it later in the season, they're gonna they're going to tank on week one. Week one's the worst one for a survival league for fantasy football. I can tell you that. If you get past week one, you're half your guys are out.
I just got a text about if we're going to have our fantasy football this year or not.
Was that
the answer? The answer is yes.
I'm the defending champion.
How'd that happen?
I don't remember that at all.
I'm smarter than all of y'all. Pooh Bear, I believe I beat you in the finals, so you do remember.
I don't remember this at all. So, but the answer is yes.
We'll be having to pull it up and show you. My cell phone has Wi-Fi.
Mine doesn't seem to have that stuff.
Mine.
I'm not really sure who won that.
I probably deleted the app.
What about for officiating?
Ooh, that's a good point. I mean, we always see it the first week of any sport that the officiating. We always joke it's still spring training for the umpire, or it's still preseason for the ref. You're going to have it.
No real rule changes this year, though, so
that might help.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I think,
and I think with all scoring plays are reviewed, all change of possessions are reviewed, so I think that'll help. If you got one composite group of officials looking at this in New York or wherever they're going to do this, that's going to help. So I'm not.
We got to get fans in the stadium.
But you're going to see things like the missing, which always happens anyway, but, holding not being called, or pass interference not being called, or, any number of problematic ticky-tack penalties that can cause a play to go backwards.
Trying to call every holding penalty is just it doesn't work. It'd be like getting a speeding ticket every time somebody went over the speeding limit. I mean, you would never get anywhere.
No, absolutely not. But we've all seen the big runs that happen because a tackle comes out and holds the linebacker when clearly the linebacker was about to make the play, and you just broke off an 80-yard run. That's very upsetting for the linebacker and the team that, the fans watching the team or the defense.
Yeah. So talking NFL, and Pooh Bear, you alluded to this earlier in the show, but there are 10 teams currently affected by some not so great COVID testing at a facility that the NFL has contracted to do COVID testing. Mm-hmm. And apparently, from what I understand, there is a lot of false positives. And that has caused the NFL to even question how they're going to do COVID testing going forward.
Right. Yeah, because what do you do? He's going to test somebody 5 or 6 times until you get the test result you want. I mean, how does that work? How do you test the test? How do you what's the word? Validate, or we do this all the time at work. I can't even think of the word. Thanks for the help, guys.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Calibrate. How do you calibrate the test to make sure it's right?
The only thing I know is you send it to multiple testing facilities.
Yeah, that's about it.
Right, and right now the NFL is using one specific one, I guess, up in the Northeast that 10 teams are sending their tests to, and apparently they're all wrong.
Yeah,
and when
I
they
think
got
the
them,
Bills and the Jets,
when they started getting them tested independently, they realized they've got some problems on that front.
And you should. I mean, it's like any other medical test or procedure. You always want to get a second opinion, right? You can't really test or trust the one test. You might let that one lead you to believe, oh, we might have something wrong. Let's go ahead and do some further testing, which I thought they were doing anyway, because they were doing like a swab, which is more of a not as conclusive as the nasal brain rub around, in that the saliva swab would lead you to a more advanced test if there was something in your test that came up positive. So I did hear some good news on that today, though, that the doctor in India did his test on some Indian and European patients, where the strain of COVID that they found inside the blood, the dominant strain, it was apparently in 80% of the people they tested, was a much weaker strain as far as harm it could do to you, but also but it was also more prevalent. Like, it was easier to spread, but it was weaker, right? So what he was saying essentially was, this might be the herd immunity we were all looking for. Like, this is the strain that is the dominant strain. It is what humans have turned it into, right? Because that viral load, every time it goes and goes from one organism to another, it can change, and most of the time it does, I think. So this is the one that he said that the humans have changed into, and it's what's being spread around, at least in his section of the world currently, and it's not nearly as lethal, and it's easier to spread, meaning it can help with the herd immunity. So
yeah,
some good news maybe.
Well, listen, wrapping things up here, one thing I'm going to remind everybody of is our next short is coming out. It is coming out this week. Is it? No, I'm sorry. Is it next week?
We can drop it anytime this week. The race, did we say what it's for?
Yeah, so our next short is a Kentucky
Wow.
a Kentucky Derby themed short. And one of the things we enjoy doing together here at the Man Event every year is we celebrate the Kentucky Derby and we go all out.
That's an understatement.
We go all out. And so you're going to get an opportunity to catch a glimpse through our next short, which you will find absolutely hilarious. If you want to make sure that you know every single time we drop a new short, then you need to subscribe to this YouTube channel. All right. You will get the alerts when we go live. You will be among the first people to see our new short every time it comes out. So be on the lookout for that. Derby Day is coming soon. Chief, Pooh Bear, anything to add?
Go Lightning.
I think the puck dropped a few minutes ago, so let's wrap this up.
All right. Listen, thanks for tuning in tonight. As always, you can find us on our Facebook page, The Man Event. We stream live there and on YouTube every Sunday night at 7 p.m. And Chief, just so you know, we have an Instagram too. It's at The Man Event Show. Live every Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. Go Lightning.
Good night.